I'm Gab. He's Jules. Blue skies over West London, sort of, more or less. Jules, we have ourselves quite a Premier League race. 3 teams in the space of 3 points. Barcelona seeing out the year in style with a big away win in the game that was supposed to be in Miami. Juventus back in the Champions League places. Bayern are very good. But let's start with 2 teams that have had bumps in the road. Lots of them. Yeah. Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool. Liverpool take a 2-0 lead. Easy peasy. Xavi Simons stupidly sent off. And then Spurs get back into it.
Yeah, towards the end. I mean, it shows again that Liverpool are improving, definitely, collectively, certainly, even individually for some of the players. But there's still a bit of fragility there in terms of that the defensive performances. It's a bit fragile. You can feel it even with 11 against 10 like they were in this game. And after that Richarlison goal to go from 2-0 up to 2-1 up, then suddenly it was very wobbly. And there's a good kind of block by Konate on Richarlison later on. But it felt a little bit like you had the game under control. This was yours. You're playing okay, and you were suddenly 2-0 up. And then you made that difficult for you at the end for no real reason. So there's still a lot of work for them to do.
Yeah, the results are improving for Liverpool. I don't know that just packing the team with midfielders is a long-term solution for this club. The other thing, and I think at 1-0, it was still 0-0 actually when he sends on Alexander Isak, goes with the front 2, which makes sense because at that point Tottenham's attack is really just Colomwani standing up there by himself, and Kudus running into blind alleys. Isak scores and then gets immediately injured. As we record this on a Monday morning, they say the headline in the Times is Liverpool fear broken leg.
Yeah, he looked bad. Yeah, very bad.
How do you react to this?
It's just, I think he sums up.
His season's over if he broke his leg.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he would play again this season.
Okay, so what do? Do you go in the market for another striker? Do you say, hey, maybe it's okay. Maybe I just put my chips in Ekitike's basket?
Yeah.
Does it change the dynamic a little bit with the other striker, the Egyptian guy, who's off at the AFCON, Mohamed Salah apologizing? Obviously, Cody Gakpo's injured right now. He'll be back.
Yeah. But
if you want to, do you go 1 plus Wirtz and keep all your midfielders? What do you do?
Yeah, I think it's hard. Ekitike is the most informed striker of the 2 anyway, but it's true that he can't play every minute of every single game between now and the end of the season either. So they will have to find another solution. I doubt they'll go on the market for another number 9. It's tricky unless you go for a loan, which is not what clubs like Liverpool do anyway. I think it would be quite difficult.
What would you do?
I think I'll probably stay like this, and there's probably enough, again, also with the pragmatism tactically that they can use now to just have Ekitike there. But it's a big blow, obviously, for Isak on a World Cup year. He might miss the World Cup if Sweden make it. And for Liverpool as well, even if he was obviously not good so far, you knew that he would get better. He took his goal very well. The run and the finish was very good. So it's really unfortunate.
I think this completely moves the needle in terms of Mohamed Salah. I think you have to we're not saying bring him back. It's just he has a contract and so on. We'll see all these billions from Saudi Arabia if they're real or not. But if I'm Salah, when I get the news, I feel bad for my teammate.
Yeah.
But then at that point, I'm kind of like, all right, there is a way back, because if they want to play 4-3-3, unless you want to see my pal Federico Chiesa on the pitch, Salah's in the team.
Yeah.
If they play 4-4-2, he has to beat out Cody Gakpo for a spot. You're going to need this if you're not going to go back in the market for a striker. And I think we both agree they're more likely to go back in the market.
Yeah.
Other option is Wirtz +1, but I don't know that makes sense, because then you've got serious issues of width, and I don't think this team is just really built to play that way. I want to get your word on the goal, because if I'm Thomas Frank, I don't understand why the Ekitike goal stood.
Yeah,
you can't put 2 hands on an opponent.
No, although we've seen those goals before. The Newcastle Arsenal game, for example, not last year, the year before, on Gabriel, which is quite a similar one.
That was wrong too.
Yeah, but just they're not given. So I think it must be something that the referees are told not to give, because this one is not even a VAR call. It's just VAR says to the referee, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with you allowing that goal.
Coming together, as they like to call it. All right, we'll get to. I said we'll get to Spurs. We will in a second, but I need to hit the. Curtis Jones said that Salah apologized to his teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it was the minimum that Salah needed to do. The fact that Curtis Jones spoke about it quite openly, I think is a positive. I think it tells he could have just not talked about it. Could have said like stuff in the dressing room. Is there anything to read into that? Are you still, if you had to give percentages now after the Isak injury of Salah playing for a different team post January, where do we stand?
I think the Isak injury obviously changes things in the sense of, for me, at the end of this whole thing remains the same point, which is Salah wants to start every game. He wants to be a starter. If Slot doesn't think that Salah makes this team better and is a starter, a guaranteed starter every game, we will have a problem again, because he's going to bench him once, twice, 3 times, and Salah is not going to be happy again, which is fine. If the Isak injury means that now they need Salah and Slot say, okay, well, I don't have Isak, I can't do maybe what I wanted to do slightly differently, front 2 or pushing Isak, Ekitike on the side or whatever, then that changes for Salah, because Salah is back into the starting lineup because there's no Isak, and you can have, I don't know, Gakpo, Salah, Ekitike, Wirtz or McAllister, and whatever way you want to do it. So that might be the change here, but I'm not even sure if that's the case. If Slot can guarantee Salah every start.
I mean, I think Salah has to be grown up about this. You're not going to be guaranteed every start. It's unreasonable to demand that of Slot. I think it is reasonable to ask, where do I fit into this team? What is the plan with me? Because, the team was bad. And the team was really bad in October, November, especially. I don't think they've been great all year. And when the team is bad and you see your manager changing formations constantly to try to find a balance, nursing Alexander Isak along, the Premier League's record signing, and then you see that, oh, I'm the one who's now missing out and we're winning games, then you have the reaction that Salah had. I would expect from Salah, given that he's not a child, he's a professional, that you would need to sit down and have a conversation and say, look, we still need to find the right formation. If I play one up and everybody else, if I play 1 plus Wirtz and I sort of clog up the midfield like he did in this game, it's not going to be you up front. It's going to be Ekitike if he's fit. Simply for the characteristics, right? You don't want Salah leaving the line on his own. However, there will be games where I'm going to play 4-3-3, like I did last year, or 4-2-3-1, or where maybe we go back to the 2 up front, because they've committed a ton of money to Ekitike and Isak, presumably long term. That is the goal, to get these guys playing together, right? So and then you see if he accepts it, because I think what's pretty evident is that it's easier to accept the bench if the team is winning and playing well. Not that you would accept it, but you know what I mean? Like, you have less of a case. But if if Liverpool keep playing like this and he's on the bench, that's where the problem arises. So for me, I think whatever percentages we wanted to put on it, and as you know, I was skeptical of the Saudi option. And I do believe, and maybe I'm naive, that Salah genuinely loves the club and wants to stay at the club, and wants to play on a stage that really matters. I think the chances of him retaining it, I think at this stage, it would have to be more than 50%. On to Spurs. Hey, help me here. Help the man with two first names. What's the main problem here?
I mean, I think he's the main problem. I mean, there's probably a lack of talent in his squad, although he was a big part of the recruitment. the players they signed from
Of available talent, we should say that. Otherwise, we'll get Kulusevski and Madison on the phone to us.
I mean, well, not really. I don't know what kind of form Kulusevski is going to come back to, and Madison either. So,
But we don't want to see Madison until next season anyway.
yeah, no. But like, even with Kulusevski and Madison, this team lacks talent anyway, even at their best. But he was part of the recruitment. He wanted. So it's not his fault if Eze didn't come, for example, or if Gibbs White didn't come. I get that. But it's not like if they signed players that he didn't want or that he was not involved in that process. He was. But then, even with the players that he has, even if we agree that they lack talent and creativity, okay, what we see from him and what he's trying to do with this team is not good enough. It's just not good. They offer nothing with the ball. There is just nothing that they are trying to do that you could see. Pedro Porro and Mohamed Kudus are the two players in the Premier League who cross the ball the most. This is the game plan. This is the tactics with the ball from Thomas Frank. Give the ball to Porro, give the ball to Kudus, and they're going to cross the ball. To who? I don't know. For what purpose? We don't know. There's just nothing else. Xavi Simons gets the ball and he doesn't know what to do with it. And he's struggling to adapt to the Premier League and the physicality, the pace, all of that. We know it's often the case with players coming from the Bundesliga. But when we said that, it's easy to put a structure defensively together, even at that top level. But with the ball, there's just nothing happening. He's not doing anything. And I think that's really underwhelming. And if you were a fan, even, and that's the problem, that's the fracture between the fans and Thomas Frank. If you're a fan and you've been paying your season ticket for many, many years or not, or just watching on television, it doesn't matter. And you've been following this team for a long time, the good times and not so good times, but you can clearly see right now there's nothing's happening. It makes nothing happen.
I think I completely agree. And I also think, look, I don't have a problem with playing defensively when you need to. But when you put out a team with a back four that includes Jed Spence, who is essentially a center back playing fullback, in terms of what he gives you going forward.
Yeah,
I don't. I think he's completely ordinary. I mean, I'm talking about when it's not like we're talking about Dani Alves here, right? Or Grimaldo. No, you're choosing to play him. I'm not saying Destiny Udoji's necessarily much better going forward, but either one, it also depends what you tell them to do, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a midfield of Bentancur, Bergvall, it was Bentancur, Bergvall, and Archie freaking Gray. Hey, fine, but then you got essentially three. And again, it's reductive to say holding midfielders. Maybe we can call them central midfielders or whatever. You have no wingers other than Kudus, kind of on his own. You know what Xavi Simons is going to do, is going to come inside. And poor Kolo Muani, if there's one thing we learned, I think, at Paris Saint-Germain, and certainly in his time at Juventus, is that as talented as he is, and he's not suited, I think, to playing up front on his own. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if he's had a lot of success doing that. I'm not saying he's not a central striker. But playing so far away from teammates on his own, that's an issue for him.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you play. In Germany, he played really, really well in that role, in that position. But you have to play.
He played for a far more attacking team. He had players around him making runs continuously, right?
Yeah, if you play on his strength, there's a good player there. If you don't play on his strength, it's difficult for him. And again, there's nothing. But the team selection is strange. The lack of planning for me is the worst here, because at least you could try something and you could see, okay, that's to do.
You're talking about the in-game management from Frank.
Yeah, no, just the game plan in general. You could see what they're trying. They're clearly trying to do something, and you could see it. We don't even see anything. There's just nothing, and that's why I think the fans are so unhappy. And he obviously moans about the lack of connection with the fans, which is very important to him, which he had at Brentford. We talked about it before already. And Brentford fans would be happy with anything that this team would do and the managers would do. This is a different level. This is a different club. It's not Brentford anymore. And I find it, for somebody who's as smart as him not understanding why there's no connection between the fans and what the fans see but from their own team on the pitch is mind-blowing. How can you not understand it?
Yeah, I think Spurs there's a certain stereotype linked to Spurs about the fans and wanting to see pretty football and attacking football. I think that's kind of a tired old stereotype. But I agree. They want to see a plan, which is something other than playing with fear. And when you send out that kind of lineup, it looks as if you are playing with fear. And you're playing at home, where incidentally they have a very poor record. You're playing against a Liverpool side who are not great. This wasn't the game. And it looked to me like at the beginning, and to be fair though, when Xavi Simons went off, Liverpool managed one shot, which was the Van Dijk header. So you could see, all right, it's tight there. But then on the ball, you need to do more. Yeah. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are there for the taking. You saw that later in the game when they're all over the place defensively. Again, not for the first time. And to not go for that when you've got, I know Brennan Johnson came on, but you've got Johnson, you've got Odegaard, you've got people who can run at defenders and create problems for them. Even freaking Matisse Tell, who, whatever, we from the time they signed him and made that commitment seemed to make no sense unless you were going to use him, give him a chance to develop, whatever. That's ground to a halt. But you don't see that, and then it turns into Richarlison, and then it turns into let's make the game dirty. Not dirty is in the sense sort of illegal, but like dirty in the sense not crisp passing, not crisp movement in the mixer. Mix it up, and I mean that's a Richarlison type game, and he got his goal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to repeat what I said already before, but they will have to do much.
What was Xavi Simons thinking? Do you have any sympathy?
No, and again, I don't really understand what Thomas Frank. How can they complain about the red cards?
Did he complain about the one on Van Dijk?
Yeah. He says that Van Dijk changed his direction, and Simons is there. He's just trying to follow him and press him. It's just it might be clumsy. I'm not saying that Simons went there to hurt Van Dijk, but it's just a red card every single day. It's just there's no debate.
There's no argument, and also like you have a duty of care towards your opponent as well. And Van Dijk on this occasion was certainly not. He wasn't pretending. He didn't make the hole in the back of his sock by himself. It's the similar
one to the golden one for Newcastle against Liverpool 2 earlier in the season. So I can understand that you're pressing and you've got energy and you want to. The problem, just don't start stamping on people's Achilles or ankle or things like that. It's just
also with all due respect to Virgil van Dijk, who we adore. You're talking about a 34-year-old, 6'5" central defender turning directions. You're not talking about Lamine Yamal all of a sudden shocking you with his turn. You know what I'm saying? Like another, frankly, needless red card at the end.
Yeah, I think it's a disgrace from Romero to get sent off in that way as the club captain. Unnecessary for sure.
But it plays to the crowd, right? Oh, look here, our leader, he really cares. He got himself sent off.
Well, I hope not. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's true, but surely it can't be. Spurs fans can't react like this to a red card in that way, to lose him.
Do I want to be cynical about this? About the red card at this stage, heading into the Christmas period? When
I don't know. No,
how often do you see him getting sent off when he plays for Argentina?
I don't know.
Isn't it funny how the same guy with Mr. Intensity and whatever actually has a relatively good disciplinary record when he plays for his national team?
No, but I think he was frustrated by the game. So I think he might not be frustrated with Argentina. In this game, he was very frustrated, clearly. But you could see from the beginning, because he was in the referee's face all the time. And as a captain, he's allowed to go and speak to the ref. But because there were so many incidents, the Simons red card, the Ekitike goal, all of that, you could see how wound up he was, for sure. It's just not a reason or an excuse to go and do that and get yourself sent off. I think it's unacceptable. I really hope there's a fine for him. Outside of the normal kind of fines, I think you double up on it because you can't be let down by your captain in that way on what was already a very disappointed, difficult afternoon. Again, not for the first time. And I think it's not good enough, really, from him.
I genuinely wonder whether he's going to be back next season or even later this year. As well, we're going to talk about this later, but they're bringing in, most likely, sort of another
Yeah.
director of football-y type, and one of them might be leaving. There's been this change. Daniel Levy isn't in the position he was in before. He's gone now. Normally, when this happens, you have one of those sort of top to bottom reviews.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can have a top to bottom review and conclude that this manager right now is part of the problem. Whether he's part of the solution or not, that's what you need to decide.
Yeah, he said like you can change me. It won't be a quick fix. I agree. I just don't think he's the right guy for this rebuild. It's as simple as that. I don't think he's capable of doing it. For now, he might improve and we might see improvement and he might get there. For now, on the evidence of what we've seen since August, I see nothing from Thomas Frank that tells me he's the right guy to just rebuild this club and start this new era, because this is what it is. It doesn't, we're not asking him to make this team play like Barca 09 and the Pep. But it's the new era with a new CEO, the end of Daniel Levy. And so you need the right guy to be able to take this club forward for now and to the next, at least, you think 3 to 4 years, and that kind of mid-term project. For now, nothing shows me that he's the right guy for it.
And so there's a good chance they'll hit the reset button again.
No, you give him the whole season, of course. It doesn't like you don't sack him now. There's no point. But
there's no point.
No, I don't think so. Because he needs time. Maybe he will get better. It's just for now, we see nothing.
If they are where they are in the table come March, April, and they're out of the Champions League or whatever, I think you have to look, is there a quick fix? Because unfortunately, the way football is now, sacking him at the end of the season means and without making a run to get in the Champions League or at least the Europa League, means having to rebuild and having to make it work without another season of those revenues, which are pretty important. They already had a terrible season last year, and obviously they won the Europa League, which is why they're in the Champions League. But it's a bridge you have to cross right now because they are under pressure. They have spent significant amounts of money. Their wage bill is still significantly high. And if you really don't think that he's progressing, why give him those last 3 months of the season?
He's a good coach. I just don't think he's made the step up yet from Brentford and what that club represents and what he did over there, all of that, to Tottenham Hotspur. And the gap between the two, we often talk about shelves in football, right? And there's different shelves and different levels for everyone in every league, in every country, blah, blah. He hasn't got there yet. He might get there by April and he might be able to get that rebuild done and that process. And he might be the right guy. For now, I don't think he is personally. But he might be because he's a good coach and he's a smart guy. That's why I'm a bit struggling to understand what happened between July 1st when he took over and end of December, really. So there's all of August, September, October, November, December. So that's whole 6 months if you start July. 6 months for what we saw on Saturday, which is, again, nothing. I'm just not sure what happened in those 6 months. What did they do every day? So, but he might get there because I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's grasped just yet the difference between where he was before and where he's at now and what he has to do to get it right.
Yeah, I think they need some smart people to look at this because honestly, if you dial back 12 months and you compare them to, are they better than Spurs in December 2024? I'm not sure you're going to like the answer.